It had been a week since I went to the Gourmet Association. During this week, I was very busy. There were only 4 days left until the Demon King selection. Until then, I had to complete all of my preparations. Apart from the black demon sword in Jiang Hyuk's hands, there were some usable hidden pieces in Miram. I opened the first revision of Ways of Survival in order to find the sub-scenarios that would let me get the hidden pieces. During this time, I read the revised text and reviewed the important parts, but there were still many missing pieces. You're busy as soon as you come here. I've barely seen your face. Jiang Hyung, who was wearing large sleeveless clothes that didn't fit him, followed me after 30 minutes. I stared at him with a frown and asked, "Shouldn't you be training?" Jiang Hyung stretched out his lips and replied, "Haven't I been working hard?" "What is hard?" "You were eating dumplings." "Can't I do closed-door training while eating dumplings?" I wondered why he was bothering me when something came to mind. "Oh, I heard you finished third in the competition? It's a big deal." Jiang Hyung shrugged and pretended to look elsewhere. It wasn't a big deal. However, the curve of his mouth showed that he felt pretty great. I knew why he was chasing after me like this, dishonest guy. "Did you get it? The demon spirit bead?" "Yes." "Give it to me." "Why?" Jiang Hyung stepped back with a suspicious look. I sighed and told him, "I'm not going to take it away. You can't eat it like this anyway." Based on his dark expression, he had already heard about it from Jiang Hyuk. I'm sure he told the story while picking out the black demon sword. "If you eat it, you will experience a chi deviation, and all the blood vessels in your body will explode, killing you. There's only one person here who can safely absorb the demon spirit bead." I thought this and understood why Jiang Hyung was acting like this. You don't have to give it to me if you don't want to. You are the one who earned it yourself. It couldn't be helped if Jiang Hyung didn't believe me, since not enough trust had been built up yet. At this moment, Jiang Hyung extended a small hand. It isn't like that. In the first place, I wouldn't have gained this if it wasn't for you." A small pill fell into my hand with a thud. This was one of the 3 major drugs of the first Miram, the demon spirit bead. I spoke with a smile. "Wait and see." It was a drug that a terrible person from the blood demon school made in the past by refining the blood of 1,000 people. It was a cursed pill that could gain the best power of the conception vessel, but turn the person who took it crazy due to the curse of souls. Meridians are a network of vessels/channels in the body where chi flowed. There are 8 extraordinary meridians, and one of them is the conception vessel. In the original novel, Jiang Hyuk always found it delicious, but Jiang Hyung would surely die if he took it. Let's see. However, as with any scenario, it wasn't impossible to use the cursed item. In fact, I clearly remembered a scene from Ways of Survival where the flying fox absorbed this tribulation. All I need is 3 great return pills. After all, everything is about balance and harmony. If demonic energy is a problem, we can supply it regularly. The curse could be avoided if 3 great return pills were ground together with the demon spirit bead. It was easier said than done. The problem was how to get the demon spirit bead, one of the top 3 drugs, along with 3 great return pills. However, this wasn't a big problem for me. "Biyu?" I called Biyu and opened the Dokubi bag. The great return pill was already on the recommended goods list. The Dokubi's big data was scary. Recommended products list. Great return pill. 200,000 coins. Stock 5. 200,000 coins. I normally would have been distressed by the price, but not anymore. I deliberately switched the screen to public and purchased the goods. 600,000 coins have been consumed. You have purchased 3 great return pills. Then, channel messages kept appearing. Some constellations envy your overspending. A few constellations are curious about the performance of the great return pill. Some constellations say they will sponsor 500 coins if you tell them the performance of the great return pill. 600,000 coins? The passing Han Myung-o shook while holding a bowl of dog food. He was probably preparing a meal for the Breaking the Sky master. I heard you were rich." "Things turned out well. Please take this and grind it together." "What is this? Is it a panacea?" "Don't be curious. If you eat it wrong, you will be cursed by a demon king." Han Myung-o paled after hearing about the demon king's curse and acted quickly after taking the pills from me. The 4 pills were turned into a fine powder. I held out the bowl towards Jiang Hyung, who told me, "I can't eat powder." Endure it this time. Block your nose and swallow it with water. By the way, can I really eat this? It won't be much help to Yu Jun-hyuk or I if we eat it. You're different. Yu Jun-hyuk already had enough of a magic power system in place, even if he didn't eat the demon spirit being. Meanwhile, I had the broken heart of the young gold dragon. However, Jiang Hyung was suffering from a lack of magic power. Jiang Hyung kept hesitating, so I told him, "And if you don't want to eat it, give it to me. Anyhow, you have no courage." I'll eat it." Jiang Hyung poured the powdered medicine into his mouth and swallowed the bitter taste with water. The moment Jiang Hyung put down the bowl, the Breaking the Sky master, who had been waiting for the opportunity, rushed over and eagerly licked the bowl. Jiang Hyung looked at his condition and cocked his head with a slight smile. I don't feel anything special. The efficacy should appear by tomorrow. It will take time for the pills to mix with the body's energy. Jiang Hyung nodded like he understood. Then Han Myung-oh stepped in again from where he was listening. "Look, Dokjashi." I glanced back, and something I had expected had showed up. "This car, is it from the Gourmet Association?" The car he mentioned was the X-grade Ferrari, left in one corner of the yard. I stared at the sleek black body that could even cross the fault lines of the dark dimension, and the words of the mass production maker suddenly came into my mind. Don't make too many enemies. He was definitely a different type from the constellations I knew. I would have had a better memory of him if he had given me this car for free. Is the Gourmet Association a charitable organization? I bought it with a lease. Lease? How much? It is 50,000 coins a month. 50,000 coins? How many coins did you earn? Roughly 4.8 million coins. Jiang Hyung and Han Myung-oh's mouths dropped open as they heard 4.8 million coins. Jiang Hyung asked, "Excuse me, do you have an incarnation?" "Why? Do you want to be my incarnation?" I smiled at him, and Jiang Hyung shouted, "I was just wondering. In addition, I've already decided on a constellation." Constellation? Who? I asked with slight nervousness. I didn't want Jiang Hyung as an incarnation, but things would become complicated if Jiang Hyung picked the wrong constellation. Then Jiang Hyung unexpectedly replied, "The Demon King of Salvation." What? I want to be his incarnation. I wanted to make a joke when I saw Jiang Hyung's intense eyes. Then I thought about it and realized he still hadn't heard my modifier. In the original, he was a person with great senses. No, there was no reason for him to think I was the Demon King of Salvation in the first place. I suddenly wanted to tease this person. Will he accept you? Have you contacted him? Not yet. I saw Jiang Hyung's blushing face and realized he didn't really know who I was. It was a complicated feeling. Then, the watching Han Myung-oh interrupted. "You still don't know his modifier?" "I don't know it. Should I know?" Before I could stop him, Han Myung-oh pointed at me. "That friend is the Demon King of Salvation." For the next 2 days, Jiang Hyung avoided me. The usually lazy person suddenly never emerged from his training. Thus, I was stressed because I was left alone with Yu Jun-hyuk in the training field. "You must have done something useless again, Kim Dokja." "It's nothing." Yu Jun-hyuk scratched the ground with the black demon sword and left. It was an action that appeared when he was in a good mood. This jerk. He seemed excited about his new sword. In the training field, the sound of Jiang Hyung punching a pile was heard repeatedly. It sounded similar to when I kicked my futon every night. You didn't seem like a constellation, but you have their habit of peeking. I turned around and saw a super tall woman. I was about to open my mouth when the Breaking the Sky Sword Saint spoke. "If you don't add Nim, I will hit your arse." Breaking the Sky Sword Saint Nim. I couldn't be like Yu Jun-hyuk just because of a single syllable. "Have you gone to Tartarus?" "Not yet. However, I got an appointment with the Queen of the Underworld thanks to you." "I'm glad." Perhaps it was due to anticipation that she would meet her kin, but a mild shadow passed over the Breaking the Sky Sword Saint's face. The harvest of this journey was that I obtained her. The Breaking the Sky Sword Saint was one of the strongest transcendents in ways of survival. Her presence alone meant we might be able to somehow get through the Demon King selection. I opened my mouth. I have a question. Can I ask it? I'll allow it. Why did you teach Jiang Hyung your martial arts? That person has talent. It is possible to achieve a new type of transcendence if I polish him well. I knew what she meant. Perhaps the Breaking the Sky Sword Saint felt at the wall that was inside Jiang Hyung. However, that shouldn't be the reason. You know, he's a man. Originally, the Breaking the Sky Sword Saint was only for women. Jiang Hyung might be the exception, but this school had never accepted men disciples. You're still young. There isn't only one interpretation of a story. The words were cryptic. Maybe the Breaking the Sky Sword Saint noticed that Jiang Hyung was a woman in his previous life. Then the story of the Breaking the Sky Sword Saint began. I remember a man I knew before. A man? Yes, a man. At this moment, I fully understood the meaning of there isn't only one interpretation of a story spoken by the Breaking the Sky Sword Saint. The word she chose was confusing because it could mean be a man or her man, i.e. a lover. No, the Breaking the Sky Sword Saint shouldn't have a lover. He was very handsome. In the original novel, the Breaking the Sky Sword Saint never mentioned a man, so I felt something strange. You aren't trying to say that Jiang Hyung is your former lover, right? I was joking, but unexpectedly, the Breaking the Sky Sword Saint answered seriously. His handsome looks are a resemblance. At this point, I wondered if she accepted Jiang Hyung just because he was handsome. The Breaking the Sky Sword Saint didn't care about my disappointment and continued. He was very handsome, but a poor person because of his small size. Small? I was thinking about her ex-boyfriend when something flashed through my mind, causing me to feel astonishment. A person who had a connection with the Breaking the Sky Sword Saint in ways of survival. In addition, small was the most appropriate word for him. No, wait a minute. I thought their relationship wasn't good. At this moment, a loud sound was heard from outside. An unimaginable aura dominated the Blue Dragon Castle, including the estate. The Breaking the Sky Sword Saint and I ran outside at the same time, and Jiang Hyung looked my way. Kim Dokja. In the sky, a vortex was appearing. It was a vortex I knew very well. It was a cursed outlet that only opened when a disaster appeared in the scenario. Jiang Hyung spoke in a low tone. The Great Hall. The disaster scenarios were originally only seen in the early scenario areas. There was no disaster in the first Miram. There were no disasters in the scenario areas that had passed the 20th scenario. In such an area, there was only really one way the hall would open. Run away. The great disaster scenario of the first Miram was going to begin.